Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and tomorrow we're going to be in the release of the triple sprint EX roll, I guess, PokeFair featured Scout, whatever. So, triple banner with Sygna Cynthia, Sygna May, and Chase on it. Now, of course, with how this month is going, in terms of like future things, and things already out, obviously Leon, can't say I recommend too much to someone for this banner. But there's one specific character that really stands out here as a very, very good pick that's always probably going to be a really good pick, and that's Chase. Chase is really, really strong. Chase, obviously Sygna Cynthia and Sygna May are good too. Like, they've got their good qualities. But Chase is a character that performs very well in pretty much all top tier content. He wasn't around for the Electric High Score event, can't really blame him for that, but if we get one in the future, I can pretty much assure you he's going to be good for it, especially because Dodge can end up being clutch in that game mode. He's great for the damage challenge because he's got paralysis, evasion, and he sets circles, which are great buffs to apply extra damage to allies for that game mode. And he's amazing in the legendary arena where he's got 13 legendary gauntlet solos. And after his after his super awakening, he might get Moltres? Maybe? If someone wants to like try and verify that, go for it. But I honestly think there might be a shot he could get Moltres. Maybe? I don't know. You'd still need God tier luck. It'd probably be worse than getting Iono, but still. He buffs his sync move next after his super awakening. He has 359 special attack. Maybe. Honestly, I mean, I'm just throwing the idea out there. Anyway, whatever. Not really the point. So, Chase is a great sync pair. Sygna May and Sygna Cynthia are also good. Cynthia is a great Dragon Striker, especially after her not super awakening, but her power boost, her grid expansion, which was given, it was pretty much a free boost instead of having to like pull dupes for her or anything like that. You would just, you got it for free. It was one of those horizontal expansions where she got Brain Power and Furious Brain on top of some self-sufficiency and Sharp Entry and Ramp Up. Those were good tiles for her. They really helped out her damage. Sygna May is also a very good fire nuker. She's got some good debuffs with defensive ability. She's got some good sync acceleration, which is why she got the Sprint EX roll in the first place, and also, again, good nuker. And good fire damage deal or whatever. So, all good characters, probably just not worth summoning for simply because of everything else in the month. And you could, of course, find reasons to definitely not care about Cynthia or May. But Chase, oh boy, Chase is a really good character in pretty much any banner he runs in. So he's always going to be a really good option. Especially because he's one of the best enhancements for, like, Champion Red, if you want to try and max your, Kanto team or your Red team or whatever. This banner comes with two different formats. It's got the regular Scout, which is obviously 1.5% rage for each character, 4.5% featured rate total, regular Scout points, nothing crazy. And then it's got a secondary banner, which is one use only. I would really advocate for some feedback to be put in to let these banners count for Scout points on this banner. I think that alone would give them some more value. And just don't make this a separate banner. Put this on the regular banner, make it an extra 5,000 page gem option for a gift, and just let it give Scout points to this banner, because having this as a separate banner really just takes away a lot of value, because this banner is not a select, it is 5,000 paid gems, and again, not a select Scout. It's got the same pull rates, and it's a 25 unit multi, so you've got, of course, effectively 2.5 multis worth out of those 5,000 gems, which if you are going to spend paid gems on regular banners anyway, I mean, of course, that's a good deal, and you do get a sprint, an entire sprint roll cake for it. But for someone who's like a passive spender or whatever, would not recommend, obviously, spending money on these. Your gems are better spent on select Scouts or even tiered Scouts, all that stuff. Just far better value than trying to spend 5,000 paid gems for 2.5 multis and a roll cake, which you can get for free, and invest in these characters anyway. Which only really Chase really likes it. They both, I mean, obviously Cynthia and May are going to appreciate extra stats and an extra sync effect or whatever, but Chase is the one that really benefits the most from it because his sync excel is so good in a lot of different game modes because of his support abilities. But anyway, whatever. Let's go to the character's abilities, and we'll go over, I guess, Cynthia first since I pulled her up. So, Cynthia is, again, a dragon-focused damage dealer with good stats. Without full investment, she's got 700, imagine, 476 special attack, 212 defenses, 652 health, which is quite low, but it could be worse, and 255 speed, which is also quite low. The only real amazing stat she's got here is her special attack, I would say, which is boosted forever because of her plus 20 special attack tile. She does also have plus 40 HP, but that almost brings her to 700, which helps, but again, could be better. And the Sprint EX roll does help out her stats again even more. Nearly 500 special attack, guaranteed to be over 500 because of the plus 20 special attack tile there. And the HP is boosted to over 700 this time. So 750 HP is a far more comfortable number for a striker, but still not like uber fantastic. It's still fine. And 295 speed, still kind of middling, honestly, but whatever. That's just kind of how things are. Anyway, so Cynthia is a character that likes to focus on paralyzing enemy, because a few of her multipliers are kind of reliant on that, but she's got Dragon Breath for paralyzing. That's mostly its use here. You could also use it for just a 2-gauge damaging option, but have fun with that one. X Special Attack for buffing her special attack. Clanging Scales, which is her main damaging option, targeting all enemies, 4 gauges, 176 power at minimum, which isn't too great, but once you do get up to like 5 out of 5, it's over 200, which is pretty solid, for sure. Not like Hyper Beam levels, but still pretty solid, and it is split damage, so it does have that defect. And then with Super Awakening, it gets up to 281, which is good. That's good. Also, by the way, just saying, I really think that dupes of PokeFair characters past 5 out of 5 should count for Super Awakening levels, not 5-star power-ups. I'd recommend putting that in the feedback section, just saying. Anyway, whatever. So, yeah, anyway. Clanging Scales got some good power at the more levels you go for it. Of course, not great at minimum, but still. She got her trainer move, which the less HP she has, the more it reduces her sync countdown up to a maximum of 3. At like, I think she has to be in a pinch for this. If she's below half, I think it's if she's below half, it's -2. If she's at anything above half, it's -1. I think. I could be wrong though. I really could be. But anyway, whatever. And the smaller her HP remaining, the more raises her crit, up to 3. Same case applies. I actually don't remember the exact amount of HP you need to have for these, but whatever. It's not actually too important once we look at the rest of her abilities. She's got High 5, raising all of her stats by 1 after using the Sync move, which is good because of Clanging Scales debuffing her defense, which is pretty annoying. This is a really annoying effect if you don't have her Grid invested or Unbending as Lucky skill. Head Start 1 for Sync Acceleration. Again, this is why she got the Sprint EX roll to begin with. Sync Acceleration is nice. And Stamina Preserve 6, restoring Gauge by 6 when she's in a pinch, which is also when you're designed to use the trainer move. But really, a lot of these effects are very outdated, considering she is a character that released back in 2020. Yeah, August of 2020, the first anniversary. So obviously, these effects are not like, you know, the meta anymore. That having these downsides are not really what you want in characters anymore, and her grid aims to fix that a lot of the time. At 2 out of 5, she gained Unbending. With 2 out of 5 and 3 out of 5, she gained extra multipliers with Brain Power and Furious Brain. Furious Brain does help out the damage. Brain Power does help out her actual Sync Nuke damage. Off of her, again, good special attack stat, right? Sharp Entry 2 and Special Attack Ramp Up helps her self-sufficiency. So you don't have to rely on this garbage trainer move in terms of crit buffing to be able to buff your crit. And you can actually buff your special attack a lot faster if she does need to be self-sufficient in that role. I will say that her best support, because she has multipliers like Static Shock 5, I think this is 2 out of 5? Yeah, at 2 out of 5 she gets Static Shock 5, and at 3 out of 5 she gets Paralysis Synergy 2, and I think she's got another note of it somewhere. No, I'm just crazy. I'm probably just crazy. Yeah, so she just got Paralysis Synergy 2 at 3 out of 5. Her multipliers are really, and the stats she wants to buff, Special Attack and Crit, I mean, if we want to look at a elephant in the room, rerunning later this month, right? Champion Blue, on top of being just amazing in every other single way, he's also probably the single best support for Sygna Cynthia in terms of buffing her stats and activating her multipliers. So, just something to consider. I don't need... Okay, whatever. Anyway, so just consider all of that. Well, she does have good multipliers. Brain Power plus Paralysis Energy 2, that's going to be good damage for Clanging Scales. I'm not going to say it's like the best Dragon DPS in the game, but it is pretty strong. Definitely. And Static Shock 5 plus Brain Power. Again, not like the strongest Dragon Sync Nuke for, or like Striker Sync Nuke or whatever, but still good. Like, Sygna Cynthia is a character that she got her buff kind of late. Her buff was good, but it didn't really make her immensely better than like Lance after his boost, or better than like Sygna Serena. Yeah, it didn't make her like significantly better, or you could even argue it didn't make her better at all than these type of options, which is kind of crappy for her, but it's still a good baseline, honestly. She still does fine, and she can still do good in some game modes. You're going to get usage out of her if you try to use her. I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed. She's also got a few other abilities other than her damage enhancement, like Dragon Breath, Hostile Environment 1, and Hostile Environment 2 at 4 to 5? Yeah, at 4 to 5 she gets that. So if you want guaranteed paralysis, this is how she's going to be able to do it, pretty much. Clanging Scales unhindered, ignoring damage-reducing effects on the opponent's field of play. This is pretty useless, but if they've got, like, the shields, then sure, but it's not, no. This is a very outdated ability. Again, this is why she has her boost. She got Shocked Hit freebie, applying free moves next to herself after attacking a paralyzed opponent. This is great gauge management, considering she is a 4-gauge move user. So if you really want this character to be able to try and perform well in like Legendary Gauntlet duos, where you want to be very cheap with your support or whatever and not have to worry about her gauge, this is a great tile to pick up. I mean, pretty much it's going to be extremely helpful. Not having to worry about gauge is one of the best things for that. But a lot of other times you're not going to find much use for this. I mean, most modern teams in like high score event, damage challenge, or ultimate battle settings or whatever, you're not really worrying too much about your gauge anyway. I mean, you've got your team built to be a good, strong core. And if you're running her with Champion Blue, you're not going to struggle with gauge anyway. So this is a good gauntlet tile. I don't think it's much useful elsewhere, but I mean, you can probably find usage. If you're like really struggling with gauge. I mean, I could see it in like the battle rally or something, depending on like what your partners are. Anyway, soften up 1, Sync Thinker. Sync Thinker getting her special moves next is pretty decent. I mean, it just helps out with clinging skills damage. Soften up 1, guaranteeing crits. This just makes her probably better for like the damage challenge and guaranteeing those sync crits. And of course, any game mode where you're going to be syncing with her a lot to try and clear a stage, like a longer battle, guaranteeing crits is always helpful on your sync move. It tends to equal out more than sometimes having to pick up a multiplier. Though in her case, you kind of want to pick up all of her multipliers anyway, especially because they're pretty cheap. Other than that, she's got another note of High Five 1 and On the Ropes 5, reducing physical damage when in a pinch, but she's already below 33% HP, so this tile is not that fantastic. But, I mean, you could probably find some very specific niche cases for it, but for the most part, not that great. And then High Five 1 again, more stats after using her sync move. I don't think she needs them, but I mean, she probably does appreciate like the extra defenses in some cases. So honestly, if you can't find your way to like buff your defenses super fast or don't have the support to do it, the High Five nodes are pretty good for buffing those stats at the very least. And again, run unbending, so clinging skills can't debuff your defense. That's probably her biggest issue. That's mostly what Cynthia's got going for her. A few other gauge things with Gauge Refresh and Adrenaline 1 for some more sync acceleration, which is why she got the Sprint EX roll. She would have preferred Tech or just something else, honestly, but Sprint, I mean, she's a character that has sync acceleration, it makes sense, it's whatever, I guess. So if you want to use her for some sync acceleration teams, she's just a lot better for that now, since everyone does, a lot of people do like that. And let's look at her with Super Awakening. Obviously, she gets the stat buffs, 500 special attack, 230 defenses, nearly 800 HP. These are pretty good stats, like for Super Awakening standards of modern characters, not really, but for Super Awakening, I mean, just for stats cases in general, I mean, they're pretty decent stats. Her defenses could afford to be higher, but the extra stat buff here is nice. Up to 9 out of 10, she gets extra power multipliers. Again, 281 power. Clinging Scales is going to hit pretty hard, even if it is AoE. You do got to consider that it's got split damage, so just consider that at all times, basically, that if you're hitting multiple enemies, you're going to have split damage. But also, again, it's going to be good damage. And then 350 base power. Sync Nuke here, powered up to 400 with the 2 Sync nodes. So, I mean, pretty decent Sync power, again, with her multipliers. It's not the best Dragon Nuke in the world, but it's there. And then at 10 out of 10, she gets Dragon Drop Zone, applying Field of Dragon Zone the first time she enters a Battle Age battle. First Sync move Dragon Zone, applying Dragon Zone on her Sync move, and first her Trainer move Special Boost, giving her special moves next on her Trainer move. She could have afforded to have definitely some better boosts for sure, but I think so. Dragon Zone on entry is not that crazy. If you're running her with Lucas or some other Dragon Zone extender, which I'm pretty sure it's just Lucas, then you could probably make this decent because, again, she's a sync accelerating character. She's able to maintain that use of Dragon Zone probably a bit earlier, or like be able to actually utilize it a little bit better earlier on. But for the most part, the best bit about her saying Dragon Zone's on the sync move. It just makes it so Lucas doesn't have to set it as much, or if you're running her with like Champion Nate, or even just a setup that doesn't have Dragon Zone, this gives you just a little bit of extra Dragon Zone, or some Dragon Zone actually in general to work with. That does help out with the damage, and again, if you're running her with Lucas, it helps it to where he doesn't have to set it as much, and he can focus on doing other things like using Roar of Time, or just trainer moves for sync acceleration or whatever else he gets off of it and all that. And again, she gets special moves next on using her trainer moves, so her trainer move is already pretty decent to use. The sync acceleration alone is pretty nice on it, but if you already buff her like special attack or whatever with, again, a champion blue type of support or any other special attack crit buffer, then this isn't too helpful. But if you do want the immediate on-demand special boost, then she can work with that. Anyway, that's Cynthia. Again, decent Dragon Striker. Not like anything crazy, but still good, pretty much. Let's look at Sygna May, I guess, next. Sygna is a fire-focused nuking character. She's got Blaze Kick. This is her main damaging option, which works well off of her stats, which at level 150, 6-star AX, 486 attack is pretty good. That's already a pretty good offensive stat. 778 HP is pretty solid. 224 defenses is fine. 416 speed's good. Like, these are good stats all across the board for the most part. Defenses could afford to be a bit higher, but other than that, still good. With her Mega Evolution, she gets to 583 special attack, or sorry, physical attack, which is really good. That's a very, very high attack stat, and it's very strong. And her speed is very, very good as well, so her gauge management is going to be pretty nice. Especially because once she Mega Evolves, she also gets Fuel Economy, which reduces the gauge needed for her moves, meaning Blaze Kick is no longer a 4-gauge move, but a 3-gauge move, and Low Sweep is 1 power, or 1 gauge, 1 power, may as well be, I guess, but 1 gauge here, which is pretty good. Because it doesn't, of course, mitigate any damage at all, so it's still pretty strong. And yeah, that's those are the big things that she's got for gauge management. She's a sprint character, right? So she does get extra stats from that, which when Mega Evolving goes over 600 attack and over 500 speed, man. Good lord, this character's nuts in terms of the gauge. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, 600 attack, very, very strong. Works well off of Blaze Kick, which is a pretty good damaging move. 168 power minimum, or, well, maximum, I guess. 140 minimum, with easier landing crits and 10% chance to leave the enemy burned. You know, burned could be nice. Whatever. She got Dire Hit All Plus, being able to buff crit of not only herself, but her allies. If you do need a way to buff ally crit and your support for some reason doesn't do it, then May can actually, you know, act as the substitute for that. Low Sweep for being able to debuff enemy speed, and Fire It Up, being able to apply gauge acceleration, reducing countdown by 1, and raise her attack by 4, and accuracy by 1. Accuracy is nice because of Blaze Kick's 90 accuracy, and the gauge acceleration just helps with her gauge management, and sync acceleration is probably why she got the Sprint EX roll to begin with. Just being honest. She's got the innate Sync Nuke of defense debuffs because she does have the Defense Crush 9 passive here, which debuffs enemy defense by 1 when attacking them, and when she Mega Evolves, it becomes Defense Destroyer 9, which debuffs enemy defense by 2, making her very effective at debuffing enemy defense and enhancing her damage and any other physical attacker's damage. She's also got Team Debut Dash 2 and a Head Start 2. Reducing sync countdown by 2 on entry combined with -1 sync acceleration off of the trainer move. That does give you -3, which is an entire sync rotation. So she's very good for sync decelerating purposes. And to get Team Debut Dash 2 here, giving ally speed, helps out with the team gauge. It makes her a very efficient gauge character, which is good in a lot of cases, like Legendary Gauntlet and any other setup where you are kind of struggling in terms of, you know, potential supports or whatever to bring for buffing speed. If you want to bring them for something else or any other partner that may be slow, these extra speed buffs and gauge acceleration and other abilities do help. And when she Mega Evolves, those abilities change. The Head Start 2 becomes Fuel Economy 1, which again is good, helps out with the gauge, and she loses Team Debut Dash for Propulsion 1, which is a 20% chance to reduce sync countdown by 1 whenever she does anything. So random sync acceleration can always be pretty nice. It can help if you've like missed a quad Q, or if you've, you know, flinched the enemy or something and you are very, very close to being able to get to that next sync move. Then that propulsion could end up coming in clutch and pretty much getting you there. Propulsion is always nice. I always really love any character that can have propulsion in pretty much any game mode. So in base, May's fine. She's got good defensive debuffs. She's also able to debuff speed. Her power's decent, but again, obviously nothing like to write home about. She's good though. With dupes, she gets even better at varying move levels. Like, you know, you can look at the extra move levels here if you want to, you know, see the full thing. But she gets Insult to Injury and Hunter's Instinct, which are able to buff her damage. I mean, that's already pretty strong. You know, 2 multipliers to activate Blaze Kick. It's pretty good. Hunter's Instinct is a little bit annoying to activate because you do need speed debuffs, but of course she's able to do, at least she's able to do it herself, and she does have Trip Up 9 here as well, so if you do need fast speed debuffs, she can do it, and of course you could potentially run a partner to do that as well. Can't name any examples off the top of my head, but obviously they exist, especially for fire. I mean, there's got to be other fire partners that can debuff speed in some way. I just can't think of every single character's ability off the top of my head, which, I mean, you know, don't sue me, right? Whatever, not really the point. She's got the ability to activate 2 multipliers here. Insult to Injury is going to be universally strong just because it's activated off defense debuffs, which she's going to want to do anyway, and she can do anyway off of using her main damaging move in Blaze Kick. So she's going to be putting out some pretty high powered Blaze Kicks for sure, especially again off of her 600 attack stat. She's also got, for nuking purposes, because, you know, that's good. Also, by the way, burn synergy too. So that burn, yeah, this helps with that. And I believe she also has, where is it? She's got Hostile Environment 9. Yeah, right there. I think that's a 5 out of 5, actually. God damn. 5 out of 5 Hostile Environment 9 if you want to pick that up. But anyway, whatever. Not the point. She does have Sync Nuke multipliers. She's got Inertia and Cakewalk. This makes it to where she gets 300% in total Sync Nuke multipliers and plus 4 Sync nodes here, so for an extra plus 100 Sync damage. This buffs her sync damage to 388, as well as having, again, 300 separate multipliers, or 300% in separate multipliers, with defense debuffs, inertia, and cakewalk. Inertia is a bit weird. I don't know why they really opted to give her inertia, because she does have fast track, but she only is able to buff her own speed by 2. So you do need a support that can do that for her, or you need to be able to pick up fast track, which we're already running very, very low on the amount of energy we can even provide for this character. So this is a character that has a lot of very, very good things, but of course is not going to be able to pick it all up. So obviously I made a case where she's got good damage because of Insult Injury and Hunter's Instinct, good debuffs with her defense and her speed, and also good multipliers for her Sync Nuke, which is probably what you really want to capitalize on with Inertia, Cakewalk, and Defense Destroyer. Or, well, I guess innate, relentless, that's what it's called. Either way, whatever. She's got good multipliers, good debuffs, and good damage. She's also got good utility in the form of being able to burn with Hostile Environment 9, flinch with staggering 2. 30% flinch chance is not, like, amazing, but it enabled Arceus Lance to solo Moltres after days. Whatever. 30% chance to flinch. And this can be helpful in pretty much anywhere. I mean, if you are willing to go for the RNG for it, then, I mean, it's helpful. It can make or break a run. The flinch tends to. It really does tend to. And she's also got Slippery 2 and Trainer with NPR. NPR is good for the Sync acceleration, the extra attack buffs, gauge acceleration, and accuracy buffs. I mean, all these effects are good to have a second time. But also she has Slippery 2, which buffs her evasion, and that means NPR gives her extra evasion. Dodge is great. Again, good in the high score event. Not sure if she'd be able to pick this tile up, though. I wouldn't really know that much. But it's obviously really good in the Legendary Gauntlet. Dodge is amazing for that. But other than that, it doesn't really activate any multipliers for her. But for those game modes specifically, these are good tiles to have for that. Vigilance for crit protection could be helpful for running a different lucky skill, like how a lot of different like ultimate battles or whatever like to do guaranteed crits on their sync move. Vigilance can help you protect against that, but you could also just run as a lucky skill. It's really just up to you, as seen here with this team that I stole from somebody. I don't know who. Anyway, yeah, those are most of her abilities. They're all pretty good. Again, good gauge management character, very good nuker, pretty solid damage dealing with good utility like flinching and evasion on her, and burning as well to help enhance her damage and be able to actually enable survivability a little bit better as well, and just disrupting the enemies. So pretty good character in that regard. And again, she's got the Sprinty X roll, which does help with her already pretty solid sync accelerating abilities. Up to 9 out of 10, she does get extra buffs. The stat buffs from 6 out of 10, I mean, over 600, nearly 660 physical attack is really good. Her defenses go up a lot. Her HP is over 900. Her speed's nearly 600. She's got good stats, right? After the Super Awakening, her stats are looking pretty good. And with the extra multipliers and damage and stuff like that, she's got nearly 200 base power on her Blaze Kick, making it even better of a damaging move. And wow. Not really sure how many sync tiles you can pick up with this character with, after being able to preserve energy, but 459 on the sync damage with just these 3 tiles? Yeah. Even if you take away 1 or 2 of them, like, 400 base power sync off for a tech character is really good, especially when their attack stat is as good as May's. Like, May's got one of the best fire sync nukes in the game. It's just, obviously, single target, not multi-target, which a lot of people like to not like. Anyway. At the final level of Super Awakening, she gets Piercing Gaze, making her moves never miss, meaning these accuracy buffs are effectively useless at that point. But, I mean, whatever, I guess. I don't think this is an amazing tile, but, I mean, it could be helpful. A lot of enemies like to buff evasion, but, again, she could already buff accuracy. Whatever. She's got guaranteed crits on her moves and sync moves, so this pretty much forgoes having to run Dire Hit all plus for her if you just want to buff her crit. This just makes it so you can skip straight to debuffing or straight to doing damage, which I think is actually a pretty good effect. And also being able to not miss sync crits is good too. And then Trainer Move Team Physical Boost, giving all allies physical moves next when using her Trainer Move, which she's going to want to use her Trainer Move anyway for the attack buffs and sync acceleration anyway, so that's good to have. So this mostly just makes her faster at doing what she wants to. She wants to be able to debuff speed for Cakewalk or defense for her multipliers and all that stuff anyway. So being able to do that without having to buff her crit first or whatever is pretty good, though a lot of times you could just run a support to do that anyway. still, it's a decent enough passive, I guess, but of course the better things that she gains are the stats. Like, the stats help her out probably the most, which she's got very, very good stats after the Super Awakening. And finally, again, the character I was hyping up the most, Chase. I mean, Chase is still really good. There's so many things I could say about this character that can make him strong. I candy mined a 2 out of 5 just recently for a certain purpose. Okay, where do we begin? So, for one, his stats are pretty solid. They're not, like, absolutely nuts, but they are pretty solid. I mean, 363 defenses is pretty strong, 800 HP, nearly 400 speed. These are good stats across the board. 312 special attack isn't great, because he doesn't have really a good damaging option, Hello Thundershock, but I think this might... I think the fact that he's got this might enable that Moltres solo, just saying. Maybe, okay? I'm not saying it's... Okay, please. I actually want to see him solo Moltres. Anyway, whatever. Not the point. He's got good stats, right? Obviously, with Sprint EX roll, his stats go up even more. More HP, more speed that he didn't really even need, and more special attack, which is helpful, I guess, for that one specific case scenario. Again, I think his special attack stat actually being pretty decent is what is enabling some of his solos. Some of them, or at least they help, because he can actually do damage on his sync move, which is pretty good. Where am I at? Anyway, whatever. Those aren't really Chase's best features. The best features is Kanto Analysis on top of a few other things. Kanto Analysis is obviously good because Kanto is wanked to all hell. He's able to buff some of the best characters in the game because the best characters in the game are Kanto. And also provide usage to a lot of characters that a lot of people haven't invested. For one, Arc Suit Lance. Helps out his Hyper Beam damage. It's a special circle because it applies an extra special damage reduction and special damage, and also applies special moves next. This could be good with this guy, right? Arc Suit Lance, very recent character. Mixed Blue, Mixed Red, and Mixed Leaf. All characters that kind of appreciate those same abilities. They're all special attackers primarily, and can be able to make good use of the extra special damage. Champion Red. Champion Blue is a great support for Champion Red because of his survivability and all that stuff, and Master Passive, whatever. But Chase is better for the role of simply enhancing the damage of Champion Red because he applies the circle, which applies to Red's sync move. That's one of the biggest reasons. I think there's a few others, but that's one of the biggest reasons for him. He's also able to apply damage to Ash, right? Kanto Circle, same thing. That Buddy Thunderbolt, gonna be doing a ton of damage. So he's able to really enhance a lot of already strong Kanto characters, and of course any other special attacking Kanto character is going to be benefiting from Chase's existence, like Giovanni, Blue, Sygna Suit Red is a pretty good benefiter of it too, especially with how strong he can be. So being able to actually have Chase under that enhancement for him just makes him look stronger. Makes a lot of characters look stronger, right? And that's the point I'm going for. Chase is able to enhance those characters. He's also able to enhance Sygna Suit Leaf Snook, or sorry, Champion Leaf Snook, because of it being special. So again, Kanto Circle is really good for enhancing a lot of other Kanto characters. So if you're running a Kanto main damage dealing character, there's a decent chance that Chase is in your support slot, actually able to apply those buffs and make them look stronger. Especially with the Kanto trio, both the Sygna Suit and the Champion trio rerunning later around Christmas, Chase might be a very good cop, I'm just saying. But obviously you could also wait for Select Scouts to do that too. Again, he's like the one reason this banner is very, very good to begin with. Anyway, he's got special attack all for buffing out my special attack, and his trainer move applying gauge acceleration, reducing sync countdown, and applying crit buffs to the whole team. +2 crit, up to +4, I guess guaranteed, +3 crit, +4 special attack, gauge acceleration, and sync countdown, -2 sync acceleration. All in his trainer moves is really good. These are pretty good effects to buff a lot of characters, both special and characters who just like sync acceleration. And again, the Kanto Circle is very, very good for buffing any special Kanto attacker. And then his passes here. He's got Electrifying Chase, which leaves enemies that attack him paralyzed and restores HP of all allies when hit by an attack move. This effectively is Static Cling and Team Trash Tank combined into one passive, which is good tick healing. This is his main form of healing, I would say. Well, yeah, it's his only form of healing at 1 out of 5. And it's good for keeping the team alive, and it's also good for being able to have enemies be paralyzed, which is great for the damage challenge. Though I think that the worst part about it is if he does get hit, then it's going to waste some time. So Chase is a bit of an RNG demon. But it helps because he's got team speed and evasion buffs. He's able to buff ally speed and evasion when he uses a trainer move, which he has 6 of, and that's not accounting NPRs or like sync burst, which he does end up having in the grid. So if you do need these speed and evasion buffs, or you want to utilize them, which again, evasion's very good in the damage challenge, and speed is too, and speed is just good naturally anywhere, then this is a very, very good passive, especially because you already kind of want to use this trainer moves anyway for sync acceleration, Kanto Circle, and if you need special attack buffs, it's good for that. right? And then full bracing command 9, buffing his defenses when using a trainer move, so it just, again, it helps him out even more. This makes his tanking better, gives him better defensive utility, or defensive survivability. And again, it's helping buffing team evasion and speed. So Chase is already a pretty strong striker support at 1 out of 5. I mean, these are already pretty good abilities. Like, Kanto Circle alone already is very, very good enhancement, especially in short battles where he can't set it again or extend it or anything like that, which he can't extend it naturally anyway. No, yes, he can. He can't extend it. So yeah, like again, shorter battles really good if you just even don't have any investment on him, but still could be good for longer battles too, because you can still use it to enhance 2 of Champion Red's sync nukes, or even more if you are able to properly use sync acceleration or turn denial. So yeah, very, very strong stuff. This character is very, very strong. And then we'll go into the grid. So at varying move levels, Chase gets just a lot of different things. Where do we start? So I guess for the most obvious things, Kanto Circle Extension, Sync Burst, Team Smart Command, Mind Games 9, Team Fist Bump, I guess Ridicure, Team Sync Regen, Staggering 4. Okay, those are probably the bigger ones. Kanto Circle Extension and Sync Burst is amazing. Sync Burst enables you to buff your evasion and speed better, but also enables you an extra usage of the Kanto Circle. That's 3 uses, plus it's got 30% extension. That's going to be enhancing damage for a lot of turns for all of your special attacking allies, and again, even more if they are Kanto characters, just because of how many good characters are in Kanto in terms of special attackers. Again, Arcee Lance, think about how crazy his Hyper Beam would be under that special moves next and the Kanto Circle alone. It would be nuts. Team Sync Regen, applying gradual healing to all allies, as well as Team Fist Bump, being able to apply extra healing to the team. He's got the extra tick healing here when hit by an attack move, which is kind of redundant because of the evasion buff, so you know it doesn't always be counterintuitive, not really redundant. But you know what I mean. Team Sync Regen applies extra healing for the whole team, just to get extra healing off of the gradual healing. He doesn't do burst healing like potions or whatever, but he does a lot of tick healing. Gradual healing, Team Trash Tank, and Team Fist Bump here, which is a 40% chance to restore ally HP when his attack move is successful. So he's got a lot of solid team healing, just it's not, in bursts like potions or mini potions or whatever else, but it's more so in these forms of tick healing, which is good. Mind Games 9 for enhancing special damage. He's a good special enhancer. He's always going to be. Same thing with setting extra special moves next when using X Special Attack All. This is the biggest usage of X Special Attack All, is that he's able to not only buff special attack, which is good, but obviously a lot of high tier damage dealing characters don't really need the buff, but he's able to actually buff special moves next with it now, which is a buff that a lot of other characters do like. And again, on top of using the trainer moves, he gets evasion and speed for the whole team, and defenses for himself. So that is good. These are very, very strong tiles for being able to enhance damage, being able to enhance team healing, extend circle duration, and staggering for flinching. Flinching is always going to be helpful. 50% chance to flinch. That enables a lot of legendary gauntlet solos. That enables a lot of extra potential it takes out a lot of RNG in some fights. I mean, I guess it does enable RNG too, because you need to land the coin flip, but I mean, flinching always saves runs. Like, if you can flinch an enemy and prevent an action, that prevents taking a lot of damage, that delays a sync move, it's great everywhere. Flinching is always great unless you are immune, like the enemy's immune to flinching. That's the only time it's not great, which there's a fair few ultimate battles to do that, but even in stages that have resilience or whatever, where they unflinch, they gain resilience, you can still flinch them again later in the fight, and that's been very crucial for a lot of high score event battles, even ultimate battles. It's amazing, especially because you can combine that with freeze or sleep or whatever, and that can actually extend the duration of how long enemies are affected by being unable to move. I think Ropalm did a video over that, which is pretty funny. Other than that, these are his main abilities, I would say, but there are other really solid abilities in his grid that make him good. Ridicure 3 is good immediate healing for himself for 40% chance to restore his own HP by 20% when an enemy misses him. That's great in the Gauntlet. That's great in making it so he's the main survivor, all right? Like, a lot of stages where he has to dodge in order to actually live, being able to dodge and heal just enables his survivability, which, again, he's got good defensive stats, but being able to have that healing from just dodging is really good for, again, enabling even more survivability for him. Endurance as well, playing Endurance, I mean, the extra survivability node, that could be helpful. Adrenaline 1 for extra sync acceleration on top of the Sprint EX roll. and maybe even running Adrenaline as a lucky skill, that could be a lot of sync acceleration. That could be really strong. Team Great Entry too, if you do need a special attack, but I would mostly just forego this in general for NPR or Sync Burst, which granted you have to pick up one of those to get to it anyway, or you could go around, but I think that's a little bit out of the way. Anyway, not really the point. He's also got Kanto Circle Crit Defense, applying critical hit defense on the same usage of the Kanto Circle. Good if you don't want to run Vigilance, or if you want to protect the team from enemy crit damage. This is the best way, or really the only way, I believe, to actually not take crits from, like, Palmer, which Palmer and Nolan's problems is the fact that they basically OHKO you naturally anyway, but sometimes crit protection does help prevent that, so I mean, it's just something to consider. But also, even then still, if you don't want to run Vigilance on any of your characters, you can run this before most other Ultimate Battle Sync moves and not have to take their crits. And again, this is good for crit protection in pretty much any other game mode as well. And also, Circle HP Recovery and Attack Damage Reduction. These are great Gauntlet abilities. The extra tick healing just for having the Circle up, and also the damage reduction when the Circle is up in general. These are very, very helpful for enabling his survivability more. Not even just in the Gauntlet, but in general. But in general, in a lot of other places, you probably want to pick up a whole lot of other things, just because he's so good at enhancing other teams' damage, or the ally team's damage. Either way, he's also got 90%. He's also got guaranteed paralysis on Thundershock if you don't want to rely on this passive just for paralyzing. Just saying. So yeah, Chase is really good. Dodge and paralysis for the damage challenge. Circle for it as well. Circle to enhance any game mode's performance for your whole team. I mean, Kanto character or not, circles are always amazing. They have amazing effects. Just the extra damage for moves and sync moves and the special or physical moves next, or both, right, is always really, really good. Just anywhere. And then on top of that, being able to be a good special enhancer with the special moves next, the defense debuff, special defense debuffs, and the special attack buffs and whatever else is really good too. Chase is amazing. He's good in every single game mode for just a lot of different reasons. And this banner overall, it gained a lot of value just because of his existence. So yeah, let's just keep all that in mind. Anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts about the banner. May and Cynthia are good. I mean, they do have their good abilities, but Chase is just the magnum opus of this. Also, I didn't go over his tiles, which, by the way, at 9 out of 10, he does get 400 plus defenses and over 1,000 HP. God, my man's survivability is crazy. Nearly 360 special attack. Again, I coat Moltres. And then at 10 out of 10, he gets team stat immunity when the circle's applied to the field of play, so you can't be debuffed. Team safe start for endurance on all allies, effectively making this useless if you can pick it up. And also, trainer move team sync boost. Not only is he able to enhance special damage now and sync damage via the circle, but he can enable it via the trainer moves now with sync move up next. So he's making a lot of those Kanto special nukers look even stronger just because he can buff their sync move up next by varying amounts. Yeah, I think I've made a pretty good case for how good Chase is. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, so again, that's my thoughts on the banner. May and Cynthia are good. Chase is the magnum opus of this banner, and you're going to get decent value from pulling out for the most part, but really, again, Chase is the one that you're really going to want. And again, just consider summoning on this banner as maybe hold off or just don't, just because of how good the month is. I mean, it's a pretty crazy month, but also at the same time, if you want good, Kanto characters, that guy right there. But also, he's probably going to be on select scouts in the future. So if you can forego like 5,000 paid gems for those select scouts in the future, then that's really where you should probably aim your focus for getting Chase to, if you really do want them. Anyway, yeah, whatever. I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good luck on your summons. Good luck on your skipping. Peace.